In English, we call him Gog and Magog. This is the translation of Sayyid Abu al-Maududi in his Tafhim al-Quran. He said Gog and Magog, Ya'juj and Ma'juj. And they will be so numerous, they will be coming and destroying people. And then after that, they will be, I have to cut short because time's up. Okay, so, okay, relax, yeah. This Ya'juj and Ma'juj will surround Jesus Christ and his army on a hill, and they will start fighting until God will send down his destruction on these Ya'juj and Ma'juj, and they will be destroyed, and there will be prosperity on earth, and again the rule of Jesus Christ until before the end of time. There is another major sign that will come, and that will be the rise of the sun from the east to the west. Sorry, the west to the east now. Now it's east to west, right? The sun will rise from the west to east. Those who still disbelieve at that time, and they start to say after they see the sun rise from the west to the east, now we believe. It's no more time to believe at that time, because all the signs would have come, major signs of Dajjal and Jesus Christ, and still you don't want to believe in the religion. It's not accepted anymore at that time. And then there will be a wind that will come and take all the believers, those with even a single mustard seed of belief in the one and only God. They will all be taken. And the day of the end of time will happen on the worst of the people that is left. Allah knows best. I think I've shared most of what I wanted to share tonight. Maybe later on, if you have more questions in the question and answer time. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Abdullah. Now I'd like to call upon Mr. Livingly.
I'm so glad to have here tonight. It's so interesting to listen to, the perspectives from so many different religions on this interesting topic. Okay. Welcome to 2012, and whether we will be here at the end of the year. So I'm sure you've all seen, a lot of you have seen this movie, okay, which says that the world will end on 2012, and I like this cartoon, you see. This is the Mayan calendar, and he says, so how come it ends in 2012? He say, I ran out of space on the rock, you see, while the guy was carving it. And like I've told you earlier, there's no such thing. The Bible does not put a date, and in fact the Bible says anybody who puts a date on the second coming of Jesus Christ, or or Judgment Day is a false prophet. But make no mistake about it, the Bible does say that the world will come to an end, you see. So some of the main themes that's it will be what some will say as signs will be things like earthquakes, tsunamis, heavenly upheavals, and other natural disasters, famines, epidemics, wars, man-made disasters, increased selfishness, wickedness, desperate search for solutions and saviors, great spiritual darkness, delusion by false prophets and antichrist, and then the one world economic system, one world government, and then the return of Jesus Christ. These are the main themes. So these are some scriptures from the Bible, but I won't read through the whole thing. But what's it, like this passage from Matthew 24, verse 3 to 14 says, the world will end, but before it ends, what will happen? So if you just Google Bibles.net, you can just find this passage, Matthew 24, 3 to 4, and can read it for yourself. And the Bible says that just as Jesus ascended into heaven, he will come again before the end of the world. See? So the Messiah will come. And so he says, if anyone, as Jesus himself saying when he was still here on earth, If anyone says that he is out in the wilderness, do not go out. Here he is in the inner rooms, do not believe it. Because when he comes, it says the whole world will be able to see him coming. And people used to be skeptical, you know. Hey, if he comes in the heavens, only half the world will see it, isn't it? The other half won't be able to see it. But at that time, they didn't reckon that there was CNN. Now any event happen, the whole world can see it instantly. And very interestingly, before Jesus Christ comes again, the Bible also says that there is someone who's very powerful, who will do a lot of supernatural miracles to convince the world to hand over power to him and to bow down and worship him. And this person, the Bible calls the Antichrist, you see. So this Antichrist this very powerful world leader must come first before the second coming of Jesus Christ. Okay? And when this Antichrist comes, what he will set up is that there will be a one world government. And actually, what will happen is that he will convince the world to surrender their governing authorities to him, because he will promise, I'm the one who is going to solve all the world's problems. And actually, very interestingly, now technology has gone very close to making it possible already. You know, we actually have developed chips which you can actually embed into dogs and arowana fish and all that, and you just scan and you know who is the owner of the dog and so on. You see, now even if we are heading towards what's called a cashless society, okay, soon you won't be needing to carry money around with you anymore. And even if you carry credit cards, it can easily be cloned and so on, you see, from even with credit cards. But what's they have already actually developed the Mondial chip. You just embed this tiny little chip, which is like a grain of rice by comparison, the size. And then all you need to do is just scan, and automatically your purchase will be deducted. At the end of the month or week, what you have earned in your salary will be credited to you automatically. So if people can be convinced that this is such a fantastic way to do, you know, to control the economy, because then nobody can pay bribes anymore, nobody can cheat income tax anymore, everything will be centrally controlled. People will think that it's such a good idea, they will submit to it, you see. So what I'm trying to tell you is that we have the technology, we only need a reason to implement it. And the reason is not far from coming. Because, as you will already know, the world is becoming increasingly unstable. Whether it is physically, with all the earthquakes and so on, or economically, you know, US subprime crisis and then the euro crisis and so on, people are going to get more and more desperate. And added to that, you have global warming, you will have a lot of not just the normal refugees, but you have, which is economic refugees or refugees from war, but you have environmental refugees as well. When the sea level rise, you know, there will be millions of people in low-lying areas like Bangladesh, which is going to be displaced, you see, and you cannot just stop them from coming across the border and so on, you see. So things will be very chaotic in the last days. So if you look at it, this is the world population growth chart. Okay, up to about 1000 AD, we are still right at the bottom there, and then suddenly from that time on, there's a big spike. Human population they've just crossed the 7 billion mark. And all these human beings need to be fed, and then they produce waste which needs to be discarded. And we are just producing so much and consuming so much and producing so much waste that the system, you know, is no longer sustainable. So we are heading towards crisis stage, whereby so far we've been lucky, our technology has been able to help us to keep pace, produce miracle rice and so on to feed. But even then, we are quickly being outpaced in the world's resources. And in such a chaotic situation, you know, I mean, a lot of people know that there's more than enough food now to feed actually everybody on the planet. But it's the distribution which is the problem. You have got like people, you know, America, which are hoarding all this, you know, they're even throwing grain, burning grain and throwing into the sea just to keep prices high. when people, in third world countries,